Have you ever felt like no matter how much effort you put into love, you just can't seem to reach the heart of the one you desire? You try everything, kindness, grand gestures, patience, but something still feels missing. Maybe you've given your all, yet you find yourself met with distance, uncertainty, or even silence. Why does love sometimes feel like an impossible puzzle, where the harder you try, the more elusive it becomes? Deep in the heart of an ancient forgotten village, hidden within towering emerald mountains, lived an old woman named Melaine, a woman whose wisdom could unlock even the most guarded hearts. People traveled from far and wide to seek her guidance, knowing that her words held the power to unravel life's greatest mysteries. One day, a young man named Pedro arrived at her doorstep, his heart heavy with longing. He was in love, deeply, intensely, but he couldn't seem to bridge the gap between his love and the woman he adored. Why couldn't he win her heart? What was he missing? What Melaine told him that day would change his life forever. In this video, you'll uncover the powerful secret she revealed, one that most people never realize until it's too late. You'll discover. Heavy checkmark, why love isn't about grand gestures, but something far deeper. Heavy checkmark, the one thing that separates those who succeed in love from those who always struggle. Heavy checkmark, how understanding yourself first is the key to winning not just love, but respect, devotion, and lasting connection. By the end of this video, you'll see love in a way you never have before. So stay with me until the very end, because what you're about to hear could completely change the way you approach love forever. Let's begin. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now, let's get started. In a secluded, almost forgotten village nestled deep within the towering embrace of ancient, verdant mountains, there lived an old woman whose wisdom was as old as the hills themselves. Her name was Melaine, and her presence seemed to reverberate through the very air, as if she were the living embodiment of time itself. Her long silver hair flowed like the river of years, and her eyes, clear and penetrating, glimmered with the knowledge of countless lifetimes. They held stories of triumphs, heartbreaks, and the intricate dance between joy and sorrow that only the oldest souls could truly understand. To those who sought her counsel, it was said that her words could unravel the most knotted of hearts and guide the most lost of souls. It was on one such day, heavy with the stillness of the mountain air, that a young man named Pedro found himself standing at the edge of her small, weathered cottage. The village was a peaceful one, its stone houses wrapped in ivy, and its people living simple, yet content lives. Yet, Pedro's heart, still young and raw, felt anything but simple. He was in love, deeply and passionately, with a young woman from the village, someone whose smile lit up his world like the sun breaking through a storm. But despite his love for her, he found himself uncertain. He had tried everything he could think of to win her heart, yet there remained a distance, an invisible wall he couldn't break. Desperation, mixed with longing, led him to Melaine's doorstep. He had heard tales of her wisdom, the kind that went beyond mere advice, that touched the very core of human nature, and he hoped that she could offer him some insight, some key to unlocking the heart of the woman he adored. With trembling hands, he knocked on her door, his heart hammering in his chest, unsure of what awaited him. The door creaked open slowly, revealing Melaine's face, serene yet somehow knowing, as though she had been expecting him all along. Without a word, she motioned for him to come inside. Her smile was warm, inviting, yet there was something about her gaze that made him feel as if she could see right through him, peeling back the layers of his soul. "Come, my child, sit with me," she said in a voice that was soft yet firm, like the soothing hum of a lullaby carried on a summer breeze. Pedro hesitated for a moment, feeling the weight of her presence, before stepping into the cozy, dimly lit cottage. He could smell the earthy scent of herbs hanging from the rafters, and feel the warmth radiating from the hearth. The flickering fire cast dancing shadows across the room, and for a moment, Pedro felt as though time itself had slowed, as if the world beyond the cottage had ceased to exist. He lowered himself to the floor at her feet, humbled by the sheer depth of her being, feeling both like a child seeking comfort and an eager student ready to learn. Melaine settled into her chair, folding her hands with a graceful, deliberate movement, her eyes never leaving Pedro's face. Her presence was so calm, so unwavering, that it felt as though the air itself had grown still in reverence of her wisdom. She studied him for a moment, as if seeing into the very heart of his turmoil. "Ah, love," she began, her voice a soft, melodic whisper that seemed to carry with it the weight of all the ages. "Love, my dear boy, is not something that can be simply won with grand gestures or fleeting moments of passion. To win a woman's heart, you must first conquer the greatest and most difficult of all battles, the battle to conquer yourself." Pedro's brow furrowed, confusion clouding his young features. "But how can I conquer myself?" he asked, his voice trembling, caught between doubt and longing. "How can I win her heart if I do not understand my own?" Melaine's eyes softened, the faintest trace of a smile playing at the corners of her lips. She leaned forward slightly, her voice dropping to a whisper, as if sharing a secret meant only for him. "The conquest of oneself," she began, her words deliberate and slow, "is the first step on the long road to love. It begins not with action, but with understanding. You must first learn to know yourself, every part of you, not just your strengths, but your weaknesses, your desires, your fears. Only when you can stand in the mirror and look honestly at yourself, without flinching, can you hope to offer your love in a way that is pure and true." Pedro felt a pang deep in his chest as the truth of her words settled within him. He had spent so much time focusing on the object of his affection, on the woman he dreamed of holding, that he had never truly stopped to understand his own heart, his own soul. He had never asked himself what he truly needed, what he truly wanted, beyond the yearning to possess her love. Melaine continued, her voice now gentle yet firm, as if imparting a sacred truth. "You must also learn to honor her, to respect her individuality. Love is not about possession, not about making her bend to your will. To truly love her, you must respect her as a person in her own right, with her own dreams, desires, and ambitions. Listen to her, really listen. Hear the quiet whispers of her heart, the dreams she dares not speak aloud. When you truly understand her, when you stand beside her as her equal, only then will you begin to nurture the love you seek." Pedro felt a stirring within him, a sense of clarity rising in his chest. The conquest of love, he realized, was not about winning or losing. It was about understanding, about building a foundation of trust and mutual respect, something deeper and more lasting than anything he had ever imagined. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And above all, my young one, Melaine continued, her voice softening to a tender note, be patient. True love is not something that blooms in an instant, like a flower opening to the sun. No, love must be nurtured, like a tender seed planted deep in the soil. It must be cared for, watered, and protected. You cannot rush its growth. Time will shape it, experiences will strengthen it, and patience will guide it. But above all, be there for her. Be present, truly present, in the quiet moments and the loud ones, in the joy and in the sorrow. Love grows in the shared spaces between two souls, and it is these spaces that will carry you through the trials and tribulations that come with life. Pedro sat, stunned by the weight of her words, his heart swelling with a newfound understanding. Love was not something that could be grasped with desperate hands, but something that could only be earned through time, patience, and, above all, self-awareness. It was not about grand gestures, but about the quiet, unwavering support of two souls walking beside one another through life's many challenges. He stood, bowing his head in gratitude, feeling a deep sense of peace wash over him. "Thank you, Melaine," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I understand now. I will be patient, I will learn to know myself, and I will honor her for the person she truly is." Melaine smiled, her eyes filled with a quiet knowing, as though she had seen the journey Pedro was about to undertake, and knew that he would walk it with wisdom and grace. "Go now, my child," she said softly. "Go and let your love grow as it should, with the strength and tenderness of the mountains themselves. And remember, the greatest love is the one that begins within." As Pedro left the warmth of Melane's cottage and stepped back into the crisp mountain air, his heart felt lighter, filled with a sense of purpose he had never known before. He knew the road ahead would be long, and the challenges would be many, but with Melane's guidance, he was ready. He would no longer chase after a love that could not be forced. Instead, he would cultivate a love that could only bloom through patience, understanding, and deep, unwavering respect. And in that moment, as he looked toward the horizon, Pedro understood that the greatest love of all was not found in winning someone's heart, but in discovering the depths of his own soul, and in offering that soul to another with honesty and care. With a renewed heart and a spirit emboldened by wisdom, Pedro set out on the journey of a lifetime, not just to win her heart, but to truly love her, as she deserved to be loved. As the days turned into weeks, Pedro found himself returning to Melane's cottage time and again, each visit leaving him with a new understanding, a deeper awareness of the true nature of love. He hung on to her every word as if each syllable held the power to unravel the mysteries of the heart. The old woman spoke not just from wisdom, but from a place of deep compassion, each piece of advice imbued with a kind of quiet strength that only years of life experience could bestow. One bright, sun-drenched afternoon, when the sky seemed to stretch endlessly above the rolling hills, Pedro found himself resting in the shade of an ancient oak tree just outside Melane's home. The leaves whispered in the wind, creating a soothing melody that matched the peace he felt in his heart. He closed his eyes, feeling the cool earth beneath him, grateful for the solitude that allowed him to reflect. He had been following Melane's teachings with diligence, trying to cultivate patience and self-awareness. But at times, doubts clouded his mind, and he couldn't help but wonder if he was making any progress at all. Was his love being noticed? Was he doing enough? As if reading his thoughts, the soft sound of footsteps approached, and Melaine emerged from her cottage with her usual gentle smile, her silver hair catching the sunlight. She paused for a moment to take in the peaceful scene before sitting beside him, the warmth of her presence offering a sense of calm. "Pedro, my child, I see the determination in your eyes," she began, her voice as comforting as a mother's embrace. "How has the path of love treated you? How have your steps been?" Pedro sighed, a deep, almost resigned sound, and leaned back against the sturdy trunk of the oak. "Melaine," he replied, his voice tinged with frustration, "I've been following your advice. I've been patient, respectful, and I've sought to know myself better, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm not making enough progress. My heart aches with longing, but it feels like I'm still standing still, waiting for something to happen." Melaine's eyes softened, and she nodded with a wisdom that spoke of years spent understanding the heart's most delicate truths. "Ah, my dear Pedro," she said, her words carrying a sense of gentle reassurance. "The path of true love is not a straight road, nor is it one that can be rushed. It is like a winding trail through the mountains, sometimes difficult to navigate, sometimes unclear, but always leading you somewhere deeper. There will be moments when it feels as though you're standing still, but in truth, you are growing, gaining wisdom with each step you take. You are not stuck. You are merely accumulating the experiences that will shape the kind of man you are becoming." Pedro's heart fluttered as he absorbed her words. He had been so focused on the destination, the moment when the woman he loved would return his affections, that he hadn't fully embraced the journey. He had been so desperate to see immediate results that he missed the beauty of the process itself, the transformation that was quietly taking place inside him. Melaine sat beside him, her eyes gazing out over the rolling hills, as though she could see beyond the horizon, to the farthest reaches of time. "Remember, my child," she continued, her voice soft but unwavering, "love is not about rushing to the end. It is about the dance between two souls, a delicate balance of giving and receiving. It is never about domination or control. It is about sharing joy, supporting each other, and growing together in mutual respect. A woman will not be drawn to you solely by the things you say, but by how you make her feel, how you make her feel valued, seen, and cherished. When you give of yourself without expectation, when you offer love freely, it is then that the heart of the woman you seek will truly begin to open. Pedro nodded, the weight of her words sinking deep into his heart. He had always believed that love was about grand declarations and sweeping gestures, but Mylène had shown him that true love was about the small, everyday actions, the quiet moments of understanding, the gentle support that asked nothing in return. Furthermore, Mylène continued, her voice growing more serious, show yourself as a man of integrity. A man who stands firm in his promises, who is reliable and trustworthy, is a man who commands respect. Love cannot thrive in an environment of doubt. It cannot grow where trust is lacking. To win her heart, you must first earn it. Be present for her in her moments of need, and show her that your words match your actions. A true relationship is built on the foundation of trust, a trust that is cultivated through consistency and honesty. Pedro felt a deep stirring inside him, as though a fog had been lifted from his mind. His love for the woman he sought was not about winning her over through words alone. It was about showing up, every single day, with integrity and sincerity. It was about proving that he could be the man she could depend on, not just in moments of joy, but also in moments of challenge. He realized that love, in its truest form, was not a conquest or a battle to be won. It was a partnership, a shared journey that required patience, respect, and, above all, trust. Mylène placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch gentle yet firm. "You are learning well, Pedro," she said, her voice warm with approval. "Now, go forth with this new understanding. Be patient with yourself and with her. Let your love grow, not through urgency, but through steady, nurturing care. The journey ahead may be long, but with each step, you will be better prepared for the love that awaits you." As Pedro stood up from the oak tree, he felt lighter, as if the burdens of doubt and uncertainty had been lifted from his heart. The path ahead was still unclear, and the future uncertain, but he no longer feared the unknown. With Mylène's guidance, he had discovered the true essence of love, a love that was not about rushing toward an end, but about embracing the slow, patient, and beautiful unfolding of two lives coming together. He thanked Mylène once more, his heart overflowing with gratitude, and began his walk back to the village. As he walked, he carried with him not just the lessons of patience and respect, but the knowledge that true love would come in its own time, shaped by the wisdom he had gathered along the way. With each step, Pedro felt himself becoming more of the man he was meant to be, and he knew, deep down, that when the time was right, the heart of the woman he loved would recognize the sincerity of his intentions. For now, he would trust in the journey, knowing that love, in its purest form, was a path that unfolded one step at a time. Nestled between towering mountains and rolling emerald fields lay a quiet, picturesque village, where time moved gently, like the rippling waters of a tranquil river. In this village, hidden within a modest yet sturdy wooden cottage, lived an old woman named Mylène. She was a figure of quiet strength, her silver hair shimmering like moonlight, her deep, wise eyes holding the weight of many lifetimes. The villagers spoke of her with reverence, for Mylène was not only known for her wisdom but also for her remarkable ability to see beyond the surface of things, to peer into the very essence of the human heart. One day, a young man named Pedro, his heart brimming with love and hope, found himself standing before Mylène's weathered wooden door. He had fallen deeply for a woman from the village, a gentle yet spirited soul named Isabella, whose laughter was like the tinkling of wind chimes and whose presence lit up even the grayest of days. But despite his earnest efforts, Pedro felt uncertain, unsure if his love would ever be truly reciprocated. With a deep breath, he knocked. A moment later, the door creaked open, revealing Mylène's warm, knowing smile. "Come in, my child," she said, her voice like a soft melody. "I have been expecting you." If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Pedro hesitated for only a moment before stepping inside. The cottage was small but filled with warmth. The scent of burning herbs lingered in the air, and the soft crackle of the fireplace added to the cozy atmosphere. Mylène motioned for him to sit. She studied him, her eyes piercing yet kind, before speaking. "Tell me, young one, what troubles your heart?" Pedro took a deep breath, his fingers twisting together nervously. "Mylene, I love Isabella. She is kind, intelligent, and full of life. I have done everything I can to show her my devotion, but sometimes I feel as though she looks right through me. I do not know what else to do." Mylene nodded slowly, her gaze drifting toward the flickering fire. "Ah, love," she murmured, as if tasting the very essence of the word. "A force so strong it can build empires, yet so delicate it can shatter with the lightest breeze. And yet, my dear Pedro, love is not something to be chased. It is something to be cultivated, nurtured, and above all understood." Pedro frowned slightly, his youthful impatience stirring within him. "But how do I make her see me? How do I win her heart?" Mylene's eyes twinkled with a secret knowing. She leaned forward slightly and said, "To win a woman's heart, a man must first conquer himself." Pedro's brow furrowed in confusion. "Conquer myself? What do you mean?" Mylene chuckled softly, the sound rich with understanding. "The greatest love begins within. If you wish to be worthy of Isabella's heart, you must first be at peace with your own. Do you know who you truly are, Pedro? Have you faced your own fears, your own shortcomings? Have you cultivated patience, kindness, and strength, not for her, but for yourself?" Pedro fell silent, considering her words. He had always thought love was about proving devotion through gestures and words, but Mylene was showing him another path, one far deeper than he had ever imagined. "The conquest of oneself," she continued, "is not a single victory, but a lifelong journey. It begins with understanding your virtues and embracing your flaws. It means being honest with yourself about your desires, your insecurities, and your intentions. Only when you accept yourself fully can you offer true, unwavering love to another." Pedro nodded slowly, absorbing her words as if they were sacred truths. Mylene smiled, sensing his growing understanding. "And remember, young one, love is not a possession. It is not something you take or demand. A woman's heart is like a garden. It flourishes when nurtured with care, respect, and understanding. If you truly love Isabella, do not seek to capture her like a bird in a cage. Instead, offer her a safe place to rest, to grow, and to bloom freely." Days turned into weeks, and Pedro visited Mylene regularly, eager to learn more. With each visit, he absorbed her wisdom like parched earth drinking in the rain. One golden afternoon, as the scent of wildflowers drifted through the open windows of the cottage, Mylene approached Pedro, who was resting beneath the shade of an ancient oak tree. She observed him for a moment before speaking. "Pedro, my child, your heart still beats with determination. How has your journey been?" Pedro sighed, running a hand through his dark curls. "I have followed your advice. I have been patient, I have listened, I have sought to understand myself. And yet, there are moments when I wonder if I am truly making progress." Mylene chuckled softly, her eyes filled with the wisdom of experience. "The path of love is like the mountains surrounding this village, full of steep climbs, unexpected turns, and moments of stillness where the journey seems uncertain. But each step, even the smallest one, brings you closer to where you are meant to be." She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Tell me, Pedro, do you still long to win Isabella's heart, or have you discovered something even greater along the way?" Pedro's eyes widened as realization dawned upon him. "I have changed," he murmured, almost in awe. "I no longer seek love for the sake of having it. I have found joy in the journey itself, in learning, in growing, in becoming someone better." Mylene beamed, her pride evident. "Then, my dear Pedro, you are ready." A few more weeks passed, and one evening, as the last light of day faded into twilight, Pedro found himself once again at Mylene's door. This time, however, his heart was steady, filled not with desperation but with peace. When Mylene opened the door, she took one look at him and smiled knowingly. "You have something to tell me." Pedro nodded, unable to hide the joy radiating from within him. Melaine, I do not know how to thank you enough. Everything you taught me, it worked. Isabella and I spoke openly, and for the first time, I truly understood her heart. She has chosen to walk this journey with me. Melaine's eyes shone with warmth. You see, my child, love is not a prize to be won. It is a bond to be built, moment by moment, with patience, truth, and respect. You have found not only love, but also yourself. Pedro reached for Melaine's hands, his voice thick with emotion. I will never forget your guidance. She squeezed his hands gently. And one day, when another soul seeks your wisdom, you will do the same. As Pedro stepped out into the starlit night, he knew that his journey had only just begun. But with love in his heart and Melaine's wisdom in his soul, he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. And so, in that quiet mountain village, under the watchful eyes of the stars, Pedro's story became not just one of love, but one of transformation, proving that the truest path to another's heart begins within. So, what have you learned from today's video? We've covered some important insights, and now we'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned that you'll apply in your own life? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on relationships, health, and living a fulfilling life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.